This episode of It's a Small World contains strong language and adult themes, mostly thanks to James Dean and Little. Hello and welcome back to It's a Small World, the podcast where we explore the strange, the cultural and the psychological, the ideas that sit somewhere between science and belief. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Mich.
And today we're talking about something that has existed in almost every human culture: curses. From ancient hexes and voodoo rituals to family bad luck that seems to follow generations, humans have always believed misfortune might not just be random. But are curses real, or are they something else entirely? Stories we tell ourselves to make sense of the world. Evolutionary biologist Stephen Jay Gould once said, "Humans are primates that tell stories, and sometimes the stories we tell are powerful enough to shape what we believe is real." So, what is a curse? So a curse then is traditionally believed to be a spoken, written or ritual act intended to bring misfortune to someone. And they've appeared across almost every culture: ancient Roman curse tablets, African spiritual traditions, Caribbean voodoo, witchcraft folklore, South Asian traditions, and they're often linked to revenge or justice. If someone wrongs you, you curse them. Now, do you think that curses originally come from a belief in magic, or do you think it is just humans wanting revenge or justice?
I believe that they are done out of vengeance, okay, and I believe we've been brought up with them. I think that our faiths being brought up have a bit of a to do with it, because the old Bible kind of like does a few things, and the fairy tales we've been brought up with, with the Grimm brothers and all the rest of it.
Do you know, I was thinking about that, because even from like a very early age, we have these story tales, like, is it Sleeping Beauty, where she'll break up the poison apple or whatever it is in Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, where so we
the Frog Prince,
yes,
so
we
all been cursed.
Learn about them from a very early age, don't we?
Absolutely. So absolutely, we're raised with them, and therefore kind of like they kind of sneak into our psyche, don't we? Just kind of accept them. Then until later on you realise actually curses are quite serious things if you believe in them. Yes.
That's the thing, isn't it? And I was thinking, actually, this was something else that come to me, and I know we've sort of talked about it before: energy. So is it the energy behind the curse? It's like something as simple, if something like somebody says something against something that you're doing that day. I didn't tell you about this actually, but something happened the other day when I was going to the last paranormal investigation, and somebody said to me like, "Oh, what are you doing that for?" kind of thing, and I felt like that put bad energy on that day.
Ooh, really?
Do you know what I mean? And I had a quiet night, and I thought, is that negative energy on me? And then obviously, more seriously, you hear people say, "Oh, I wish you were dead," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And is that energy that you're putting on that person that is, making them feel like there's the curse?
I think it's that psychological thing that if you're of that ilk, you're going to look for that unrelated subject. And make it fit, kind of thing. I know what you're feeling about people putting their bad juju on you, and and putting a bit of a curveball. But I think that's just being very sensitive, delicate creatures, aren't we? That we just, if anyone disagrees with it, I think that's another. I'm sure we've covered that in different podcasts, that they plant a seed there for, it's the imposter syndrome again, isn't it? You question it just because they don't agree with it. So. I think curses have gone a long way, and like you say, I wish you were dead and all the rest of it. At the time you probably meant it, but you don't. But it's not. But did you actually mean it truly? Probably not. You just wanted to have a quick hurt, didn't you?
But it's the energy behind it, isn't it?
Yes.
So, curses versus superstition. Kind of, there is a difference. So a curse is intentional harm directed at someone. Superstition is believed that certain actions will bring luck or misfortune.
Yes.
So, like the number 13, for example, Friday
A
the 13th.
popular one.
Yeah, a lot of places don't have like a 13th floor. Lifts don't have, 30
Door numbers. Yeah.
door numbers. I know when I was working in new build, we never had a plot 13.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
they all.
and we had a signal where, as if there was trouble on the site, we had like an unruly customer, so to
Yeah.
speak. You would phone the site manager and say, "Oh, can you come to the office? We've got an issue, or we've got something." No, what was it? Oh, could you come and look at the washing machine in plot 13? It was all
Oh,
coded, so
yeah.
the person in the office wouldn't know it was about them.
Yeah.
And you would say, "I'll just make a quick phone call." So yeah, 13 has always been a number that is
Wow.
deemed unlucky, isn't it? Breaking mirrors.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's just crazy, especially actually working in a mirror factory. I mean, like, you'd all be cursed, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Again,
Most
that
of them.
goes back apparently to Roman times when
Yeah.
they believed that the soul renewed every 7 years
Yeah.
and the mirror reflects the soul. And so if that was broken, it was 7 years before your soul renewed. So that's where that has come from. So you can see sort of, but again, it's beliefs, not fact, isn't it?
Yeah. I can remember having a psychic reading once, and someone said, "Oh, your 7 years of bad luck will be up soon." You're thinking, really? Wasn't even aware I was having 7 years of bad luck, but thank you for telling me anyway.
But then I bet you went back through the last few years and tried to put meaning
Yeah, I
to
did
that,
so. And
didn't
I
you?
thought, well, it'd been quite good actually. It's random,
Yeah.
random.
And the Scottish play,
Oh, the Scottish
aren't
play.
allowed to mention. But then if something sort of runs for as long as the Scottish play, see, I'm not even wanting to say it myself,
Yeah.
you are
Voldemort.
bound to have an amount of things go wrong. And so people will put that together and say, oh, it's the curse of the Scottish play.
That is true, but there's been all those films that apparently are being cursed. What was it? It was The
Oh, yeah.
Exorcist was a
Yeah.
cursed film. Was that like people kept
Poltergeist.
dying on that one?
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist, four
Um,
people died. The Crow with Brandon Lee, The Omen,
Superman.
Superman.
Yeah,
If you look for it, you'll find it,
you
won't you? All
will.
these.
You will.
Yeah. Was
I
it? Was
mean,
it? Was Wizard of Oz? Was that a cursed film as well? Someone hang themselves or something? I can't remember
oh,
actually.
that's the urban myth about
Oh, the urban myth is it?
I was going to say dwarf. You can't say that now, but they'll just have the little person hanging from a tree. Um,
The urban myth. Love it. Love it.
so, do you have any superstitions that you sort of follow, even though they don't make sense, so to speak?
At one point, and I don't know where this came from. Say if you're watching the Olympics and you can see the English person running, and I'd hold my breath until they won. Obviously, it made any impact on what was going on in the world, but it was just a thing that I went through it at some random point. But I don't follow any superstitions. But here's a funny one. We've got the paranormal events business, and we go out checking out new venues.
Yeah.
And a few months ago, we went to a place in Coventry, and there was a maintenance guy met us there. Now, this guy works at many of their sites, Wicksteed Park, all the rest of it. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And we just went in there, and there was painters in left, right, and centre. And they were on site, but they weren't in the area that we were in. And there was ladders leaned up, and you had to either squeeze past them or walk underneath them. So I just walked underneath them. And he started screaming. I was like, what, is it health and safety? No one's here. The paint's on the floor. They went, no, it's superstition. No, you're super bad. Oh, get over yourself, kind of thing. And I just thought, how funny is that? A mature bloke doing that.
But that one, I guess I can see some logic to it because something could fall,
health and safety, I get
from. But interestingly enough, talking about paranormal investigations, I just remembered something actually. I was working at an event and I was like assistant to a guy and he'd created some kind of device for anaesthetists.
Okay.
It wasn't an anaesthetist, but another person that's there that's not very often talked about. I think they monitor the heart basically while you're having an operation. And after one of the days working with him at this conference, he was like, "Oh, what are your plans for this evening?" I said, "Oh, I'm working on a paranormal investigation. I do that." And we'd already talked about the fact I'd had cancer, and he turned around and said to me, "You'll probably find that's why you got cancer."
What? What? The rationale behind that statement is
I could only assume it was something to do with religion and the dead. I don't know.
Right.
I didn't entertain the idea.
What a twat.
I just turned around and said, "Well, actually, I had it before I started the investigations, so no." And that closed that one down. But it just what beliefs can do, you know.
Yeah. As in the words of Stevie Wonder, he says, "When you believe in things you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way."
That's going to be going through my head now.
Superstition.
Now, as I was researching for this podcast, I came across another quote actually, and it was from, let me just see if I can find it. Evolutionary biologist Stephen J. Gould said, "Humans are primates that tell stories." Okay. Yeah. So basically, humans don't like things that don't form a pattern that they recognise, do they? They don't like chaos. So when bad things happen, as we've said, they look for meaning. And stories kind of help us explain that, don't they? And this is where kind of science and religion overlap. Science looks for evidence, whereas religion and folklore look for meaning and narrative.
Yes.
And I think people can obviously find fact in science, whereas religion, they can't prove.
No, they can't. So, controlling the masses through fear, yes.
You know, which do you believe? So as we said, you know, curses appear in African folklore, Indian mythology, European fairy tales, as we've said, with the, you know, the even Disney stuff, but Disney might even be another story as things are out at the moment. I'm sure
of course, voodoo. And of course, voodoo came about as a need to survive by, you know, in the slavery. They weren't allowed to acknowledge their own faith. So they had to, Catholicism was forced upon them. So they had to kind of use that. And they changed some of the Catholic spirit names into as pseudonyms for their own spirit beliefs. So they've had to merge it in between the two. But it was just there. It was created as a method to survive, knowing that as and when we die in this slave situation, our loved ones who have also died will be, you know, reunited with them. And that's why it was created. And it was more to do with support and community. But of course, Hollywood have done the whole boom thing on it. And it's now black art and all that. And I'm sure it has gone down that route because the whole possession side of it, that's part of their African culture. But then again, I'm sure some of these churches who like to do the whole get a bit carried away at the end of their services can be a little bit taken over as well. So I think voodoo is definitely up there with the curses, but I think it's been possibly misrepresented a little bit to start off with.
Because I mean, you can quite easily, you know, you see on little market stalls those little voodoo dolls things you can buy.
Yeah.
Which is worrying if you can, if they're real. You
know. You could walk downtown, or got your hairdresser, she's doing your hair.
Yeah.
She's sweeping up after you, get some of your hair, ties it into a voodoo doll, a few pins in. You know, she could take you out. If you believe.
That's not upset them, then.
Not to frame you for a murder by putting your hair in a murder scene, couldn't they? You know,
yeah,
something like that.
My goodness. So psychology, then. We've got confirmation bias, which is when somebody believes that they're cursed, every bad event reinforces that belief.
I'm going to jump in straight here with the thing that happened only recently, right?
Go on.
Our fellow colleague Jill, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Last weekend, and we get some really hooters of phone calls come through for the paranormal company, right? She spent one phone call, and this chap had said, "I was at one of your events a few weeks ago, and I did go on the spirit board. And since then, I've had all this bad luck, and I think I'm cursed." This is no word of a lie. This is how fresh this story is, right? And Jill, I tried to not laugh a little bit. She said, okay, talk me through it. And apparently his dog's paw had been hurt and he reversed back into something and something else happened. It was just like daily life things.
Yeah.
Convinced himself he was cursed. And she had to go a long way into to explain to him, no, that's just called life. Accept it and move on. But yeah, it happens. People believe stuff.
Because they're trying to find sense in it, aren't they? They're trying to find a pattern and put some meaning onto it. So it kind of almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? But then you've also got the nocebo effect, which is the opposite of placebo, where someone believes that something will harm them, and that belief can create symptoms. So it's almost like somebody won't go on the spirit board, if we're going to use that example, because they believe it's going to curse them.
And we do get that quite a lot, don't we? People say, oh, I'll just watch, thank you very much. That's fine, we can do something else with you, but yeah.
And plus Hollywood films, they don't want to go on it. But yeah, and then when you get that, obviously stress can cause illness, anxiety, fatigue, and that fear in itself becomes the curse, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're scared of it. So do you think that belief alone can influence how people actually experience reality?
I'm going to say yes, but it depends on the person. I know of people who have gone away from events thinking they've had attachments, but they have just been working very, very long hours. They're very, very tired. They've probably got, underlying health conditions. They try and put it down to something else. And you have to say, healthy conditions. You've got to like, take a look at your life, go to a spa, refresh yourself, then come back out again and ask me the same question. I think people can sucker themselves into being manipulated by other people's thoughts and, well, not educating themselves properly. I will be honest.
Yeah. Funny you should mention that, actually. The first two sessions of my investigation at the weekend, we say use the dowsing rods to show us where spirit is.
Yeah.
They were behind me, weren't they? On that. And I've been dowsing rods again are a whole other subject, and I'm thinking once one person has said it, is the other person then convinced that it's behind me all the time? And anyway, did I worry about it? No.
Because you just get on. It's life. Get on with it.
Yeah. And also, then we love stories about cursed objects, don't we? As humans.
I've got a corker for you.
Go on.
Right. So I used to work in the museum industry in Leicester, and there's a famous pair of shoes called the Papillon shoes. Have you heard of this story?
I haven't, no.
No, okay, it's true, okay. And the story goes, they're from a house in Lebanon, and it was allegedly there was this gentleman. He actually was referred to as Old Pap. And he actually had a Spanish mistress, and he kept her in the house, and something happened and he wouldn't allow her to leave. And she used to walk along the parapets at the top of the house, and she had these she was quite a petite thing, tiny little shoes they were, and she should draw around them on the roof, and it's all a bit, and there's evidence up there. And then when she passed away, she cursed the house, and she loved these shoes. And it was thought that if her shoes were ever left the house, whoever took them, they would be cursed. And there was a series of incidents where people were clearing out the house, and as they were going down the carriageway to leave the property, the carriageway would topple over, or whoever was carrying them would fall down and have a heart attack. Random stuff, right? And they were just left there. And I think they might even been putting it in a box above the fireplace or something at some point. And then during the war, the Americans moved in, the GIs, and they thought it'd be a bit of a giggle to take these cursed shoes and take them back to the USA with them. And they did make it in their Jeep down the carriageway onto the main road, where it toppled over and they were killed. Okay. And so these shoes were then donated to Leicestershire museums. And my friend, Philip Warren, who was a curator called Philip with the Frocks, he looked after all the costumes. He had to go and pick up these shoes, okay?
Oh, God.
So, to put them into storage. So he had to go, and I can't remember what happened. There's a guy called Adi who was like he went across all the different sites picking up stuff and moving stuff around. And he went to go and collect the shoes with AD and brought them back to Barrow. But somehow it's got into urban myth, if you ever Googled this, that the person who collected them was dazed and confused for several hours and didn't know where they were. It's like, now AD knew where he was going. He went to go and pick the things up and came back again. But these shoes are now in the collection, and Philip's touched them. He's had to go do some cleaning on them, and he's absolutely fine. So I think it is just a flipping good story. But there are some cursed shoes are actually in the Leicestershire Museum's collection, and I've seen them, and they're dinky, tiny little things.
So they're in the museum. I mean, when you actually like,
they're in the storage. You can't see. You can see them if you're studying them or put it in a special request, but they're not on public display.
Right. When you got to the bit about walking around the roof, and I thought that was where it was going, but what about then? This is another local one. The ship in the trip to Jerusalem that can't be dusted because everybody that dusts it, tragedy befalls them.
It's a good story, but they've also got the pregnancy chair as well, haven't they?
True. Yeah. But I wouldn't want to dust it. I would believe it. And would you dust it?
Probably not, because it's in a case now, isn't it? So it's almost have touched it in order to put it into the case, so it's kind of like protected now.
Yeah, I think it was in a glass case covered in dust.
But isn't there a gate or something in the same pub? A condemned man sells gate or door? I'm sure I've read that somewhere, but
we'll have to go and have lunch and because that's how we roll.
Because there is that Museum of Curiosities, isn't there? And they've got a load of cursed stuff, which might be worth a bit of a road trip to go and have a bit of a chat with them about that.
So a Dybbuk box then. Would you open a Dybbuk box?
Flipping wouldn't.
No.
That's just madness. It is, because the whole gin thing. People don't know about gins, right? So this is from the out in Eastern Europe, you could say. And there's a gin, and you might not have heard of the name of the gin, but have you heard of the genie? No, Ali Baba, and all the rest. Yeah. Okay, it's been extended, but it's called a gin, and this is a serious belief out there, and it's that kind of dark, malevolent spirit that's actually supposed to be in these Dybbuk boxes, and I just wouldn't even go there. It's like, no.
Would you say, for example, put a K2 next to a Dybbuk box? Would you get that close?
Oh yeah, I mean, as long as it's sealed by wax and hasn't been opened, that's fine. Okay. Absolutely fine.
Busby's chair.
Sorry,
Busby's chair. That's
Busby's
chair where somebody sits in it. I think it's in Zach Bagan's museum now.
Oh,
the cursed chair. And this is a good one. James Dean's car. Little bastard, as it was known.
Wow. I probably would actually, because that's got a different kind of iconic association. But you probably wouldn't be allowed to sit in anyway, would you?
Well, I think it's in bit. Well, I think it has been reconstructed, but I think a lot of the story goes that it was dismantled or parts were taken off it, and people that had those parts in their cars also had bad luck and accidents and things. Yeah. So is it because that story was very much in the news that people are aware of it, or was that car cursed?
See, I'm going to come back to the whole planting seeds. People were planting seeds in your head thinking, and then you start to believe it. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. Annabelle, the doll?
The doll. I don't like the whole scary doll thing, just because I just don't like dolls. It's nothing to do with the voodoo thing. Because we've been gifted, the company's been gifted a Scary Mary doll, but none of the team will have her in their houses. I think one of the teams, I think she's in the garage somewhere. It's also like with our tables, we do table tipping on our paranormal events, and we like to have a period tables, lightweight tables, and the first table is called the table, and then we've got Victoria, and I think there's a Bessie, and I can't remember what the other names are now, But I won't have that table in my house. But the team who have had the table in the house have heard knocking noises.
Yeah.
And I do believe the team when they say that they've heard things.
Yeah.
When the teams have been in the house. I do believe that. And that's it. It's coming down to the people that you believe and trust.
Yeah.
Not to make things up. That goes a long way, doesn't it?
I mean, funnily, this is a story for you. When I bought the house that I'm in now, you first go into it on the day that you get the keys.
Yeah.
Obviously, they'd emptied it, except for one thing, and that was a framed picture of the Titanic on the wall.
Oh,
that is random.
Yes.
And I spoke to the estate agent and said, "Oh, they've left this picture of the Titanic. Do they want it?" And they were like, "I'll check with them." No, they don't want it. And do you know something? The amount of leaks this house has. And I blamed that picture of the Titanic. Everything leaked. Radiators, the shower, the bath. Yeah, so I blamed that picture. And I think I gave it to a charity shop in the end. So I do apologise if anybody bought that picture of the Titanic. But again, this house, apparently the last 3 people that have owned it, and I don't know beyond that, have all ended up getting divorced.
Oh.
Coincidence?
That could be a coincidence. It's a high, it's more than 50% people get divorced, isn't it?
True.
It's an interesting one, isn't it?
But yeah, you see, the thing is though, humans do love a good story, don't they? And that's what it comes back to. These stories about cursed things, people, you're like, ooh, like we've just been going. We do like a good story.
Have you heard the one of the curses about all the American presidents got cursed by a native? Do you hear that one?
Something about the year, isn't it? And if it's divided,
yeah, it's got to end in a 0 or something. You get really that's a bit weak. That one is,
Yeah.
If they all drop down dead with an arrow through the heart, you think, maybe.
Really got to find something. But then I think, was it Reagan that was shot but didn't die and broke the curse?
Yeah.
But then if you look at the Kennedys,
yeah.
They've had
bad luck.
It's bad luck. When I was looking at stuff about curses, now I found this film on Netflix called Incantation. I think it's a Taiwanese film, but it's about a curse, and it opens with a spinning wheel illusion, and then they say, now if you think about it, it turns the other way. And they did the same with a train, where you look at it and then they said, now it's going backwards. And it did go backwards, but nothing changed. It was your mind doing your belief in it.
Illusion things.
Yeah. So our perception basically shifts depending on what expectation, we have. And so belief can literally change what we see. But this film, I would recommend actually watching it. I know you don't like horror films, but it's on Netflix. And it's like, they do it like, Blair Witch, where it's like found footage. Yeah. So it jumps backwards and forwards. And it's like this mum is trying to protect her daughter from a deadly curse linked to an ancient cult. And funnily enough, we would call them paranormal investigators. But the way it's translated from Taiwanese or whatever you call it, it's Ghostbusters. They call themselves Ghostbusters.
Oh my
God. And they go into this tunnel they were told not to go into it, basically, but they do. And yeah, so this curse is put on them for going into this tunnel, and it's put on her unborn daughter. And so the others in the group, I shouldn't really tell you the story of it, but things happen. And basically, it turns out that they've got you to watch this film so it dilutes the curse, is how it ends.
Right. Okay. Curious.
It is how people think about curses. And you know what? Curses are on my mind at that point. And I went in this coffee shop the next day, sat upstairs, and this other couple, I was with my mum, and this couple were having a coffee, and this guy goes to look at this old chimney place that's got a piece of paper hanging down from it. And he said, oh, what does this say? And he was like looking at it, and I goes, it now says that anyone who touches it is cursed.
Oh, brilliant.
And he was like, oh no. And I was like, it doesn't really. But then he was like, oh, I'm scared to walk down the stairs now.
Oh, brilliant.
Because he believed what I'd said about being cursed if you touch this fireplace. So, yeah, it just goes to show that story, carries on.
I can remember as a young teenager, you used to get these like Bunty books. Can you remember that magazine? Yes. Paperback things, and there was one story that stuck with my head, and it was a girl went on a school trip to a church, or no, to a castle or something, and they were going around, and there was these famous handprints in the wall of a witch had gone and put them there, and this cocky girl went up there and put her hands in the same place as these witches' hands went, and then she was cursed, and that stuck with me all these years.
Bunty.
Even going around castles, I wouldn't touch that, and that's good old Bunty. Here's one for you. Have you ever said something in jest and it's actually come out true? I was walking, not this dog, Betty, walking around the track, and she normally ignores all bikes that go past. And there must have been about 8 lads, they're probably about, I don't know, young teens, going past on the bikes, slowly going past, absolutely fine. And we kind of like just continued walking, and they said, oh, thanks, Dad, thanks. Don't worry, she only attacks the one at the back.
Oh.
Look at me, she did. She went for him. Oh, Jesus. It was kind of, she could have written it. I was like, oh my, where'd that come from? Quite random.
So is that sort of fulfilling? Or is it just a thing that she has to attack the one at the back? I don't know.
She's never done it before. Right, it was too late to run after a bike. It was just, oh my goodness, can you believe that? Anyway, things that in jest. But here's one for you then. When you were at school, did you ever experience chain letters?
Oh, God, I remember those now, yeah. And if you don't pass it on.
Yeah. We had major problems at our school with those, really, and they're just like constantly going around. And then one day, I wasn't particularly fussed about it. I didn't really get many, which I was quite pleased about. And then one day, it wasn't my teacher, but there was a Mr. Burns, and he was a bit geeky. And I can remember him going past him, and he was talking to some kids at the playground, and they were saying about, right, okay, if you're getting these letters, just give them to me, and I'll destroy them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next day I saw him at school, and he was still alive. I thought, maybe there's something in this. So then when the letters started kicking off again, I said, give me then, in front of your peers in the group who you feel, picked on and bullied. And they held out the letters, I grabbed them, and I just ripped them up and just threw them in the air and walked off. And after that, I got this cult status of being, she killed the curse. It didn't last very long, but I didn't die. And I think after that point, everyone realised, if Michelle Smith can do that, then they're not real, are they? So it had a massive effect on people's...
Yeah. And then it went to email, didn't it? You used to get emails and said, if you don't forward this email, you will... or if you forward this to show, you will get good luck by the same person. We had those as well. And it's like sporting things, isn't it? People have to, they'll have to wear the same underpants or the same socks or something.
Yeah.
And was it, I think it was Liverpool or Anfield, something like the Anfield ground, sorry. Bruce Grobbler, don't know if you've heard this story. Do you remember Bruce Grobbler? And apparently there was this thing where if somebody urinated on all 4 sides of the goalposts, it would break the curse against the team, and they would win the cup. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what nationality he is, actually. It must be something. It was something to do with his nationality and beliefs. And so Bruce Grobbler weed on the goal.
Really?
Yeah, and it did work. They went on to win that year. So, I'm not going to start weeing.
No. But it's too. I mean, I'm going to go back to Harry Potter when Ron Weasley's getting really nervous about playing not football, whatever the game is on the broomsticks, Quidditch, and then he thinks that they've gone and put a lucky potion into his drink, and he just goes out there and he plays magnificently. And it turns out he hadn't put the lucky potion in, but they wanted him to think he had the lucky potion, so he kind of manned up and
the placebo effect, then, isn't it?
Like the placebo effect,
exactly.
That's
another podcast. So we are running out of time again.
Well, I've got a question for you about the whole, hex thing. Have you ever thought about throwing a hex at someone?
Obviously.
Okay. And I'm going to give you a scenario, right? Because it has gone through my head on many occasions. I've never done it, but so imagine you're out and about, and then there's a group of yous, and they just give you a bit of grief or whatever. And if you said something like, I hex you or I curse you, and on your 18th birthday, is going to happen to you. I don't know, make it a good story. And then just walk away and like flick your hand in like a magical kind of way.
Yeah.
And just wonder if that actually would stick with them and kind of like scare the hell out of them.
They would be looking for reasons, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah. But then would you get reported to the police for something?
I don't think you can you? Something like that. It's just words, isn't it?
It would be an interesting research project, but you have to keep your eye on it.
Yeah.
Monitor on spotted shed.
I think we've all sort of felt like karma. You want karma to return and, they get what they've given kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like when somebody dumps you, you think, well, I hope that all goes wrong for you.
Good old
and when it does, you're like, he.
But then it's these old backhanded comments, and if you told someone to off kind of thing, is that a curse?
That's what I mean. It's the energy behind it, isn't it?
Yeah, the intention.
Yeah. So in a way, it is a mild curse.
Well, have we been cursing all this time? For all our years.
I've been cursed since I was born, I think. So we better wind it up. But so to summarise, maybe curses aren't supernatural or whatever. Maybe they are stories that humans have created to explain misfortune and chaos. But sometimes those stories contain fragments of truth about psychology, about belief, and maybe even biology. Because that brings us on to next week's topic, which is epigenetic curses.
Epigenetic? What are they?
Curses. It's whether trauma can be passed down through generations. And apparently this is a thing. So could what once felt like a curse actually be in our biology?
Oh, that's big, isn't it?
That's a good subject, isn't it? There was too much to do in this one show, so
yeah.
Yes.
That's going to be a curious one to look at.
That is going to be a curious one. So make sure you listen to next week's podcast. Hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and we will see you next week on It's a Small World. And remember, do you want to do it?
I wrote it down somewhere. Help me. I have to say it. It's
sometimes the world is smaller and stranger than we think.
It certainly is.